everybody, welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun. Today I'm here to review episode 1 of the Book of Boba Fett. Strange Man, I believe it's called Stranger in a Strange Land. What was it? I think it's called that. Either way, episode 1 of the Book of Boba Fett. Now, this has been in the works for quite a while. Honestly, I've heard people say that they've been trying to make a Boba Fett project since Return of the Jedi. Like that there have been thoughts about a project. They were trying to do this back in the day, maybe like 10, 12 years ago with Josh Trank. He was supposed to come in and make there's supposed to be a Boba Fett movie. That didn't come out. Like, it was supposed to happen, then, well, Fantastic Four happened, and so that film never happened. And again and again and again. Now, there have been many novels about Boba Fett, non-canon novels now, but many novels about Boba Fett and how he survived the Sarlacc pit and who he, all these different things that aren't canon now. But one of the big surprises / awesome things was Tamara Morrison coming back to replay Boba Fett in The Mandalorian Season 2. He was so cool to have them back. He brought a different intensity and a different level of badassery to Boba Fett that had not been there before. He elevated Boba Fett to just this massive status, and you really bought that wherever he is, he's a dangerous, dangerous man. You really did. It was just like, this dude is scary. And when we left him off at the end of Mandalorian, he had shot Bib Fortuna and took the throne that Jabba used to have, and now he's running the underworld. He's running the criminal underworld. And that's where we left him off, and the Book of Boba Fett. Now, and Robert Rodriguez, that's so crazy that you've got Robert Rodriguez. Let's just stop right there. Robert Rodriguez is working on a fucking Disney project. Robert Rodriguez is doing a fucking Star Wars thing. Like, Robert Rodriguez, Machete, Robert Rodriguez, Spy Kids, Robert Rodriguez, fucking, Planet Terror, Robert Rodriguez. Like, that guy is doing a Star Wars project. Just so weird still. Like, when I see his name show up, I'm just like, that's fucking Robert Rodriguez. That's so fucking crazy, man. But anyways. So when you hear, like, they're doing this show, and Robert Rodriguez is one of the writers, and he's going to direct I think Robert Rodriguez is directing, I can't remember how many episodes there is, but he's directed most of them. Like, I think they're going to share some, I think Dave and, God damn it, Jon Favreau are going to direct some episodes too, but yeah, I just remember hearing that. I just remember hearing something like, oh yeah, Robert Rodriguez, he's going to direct most of it, so. But when we hear about it and they start describing it, and then when you see the first trailer, it's a gangster movie. It's a gangster show. And, once I realized what it was going to be, it's a gangster show. You know what it's like? It's like The Godfather Part 2. Okay. Alright, I know I'm going to get some shit for that. Right when it was coming out of my mouth, I was like, am I going to compare this to Godfather Part 2? There's a lot of blasphemy coming through this screen. I can feel blasphemy in myself for saying that. But understand what I mean. In terms of The Godfather Part 2 kind of does a lot of flashbacks. Does a lot of flashbacks to is it Vito? Shit, man, it's been so long since I've seen The Godfather. Don Corleone. It does a lot of flashbacks to Don Corleone when he was younger, when he was just getting over into America, and when he was rising and becoming the guy we know him to be. A lot of flashbacks. And when I sat back and thought about it, I was like, well, that makes sense, Doug. And I'm sitting there thinking about the way this first episode of the Book of Boba Fett went, and it's a lot of flashbacks to him getting to the point he is right now. And I'm just kind of sitting there thinking, I'm like, okay, that's kind of the vibe they're going for, is The Godfather Part 2, with him trying, and like a little bit of him trying to rule, and him getting his bearings, and it's a lot of setup this episode, I'll say that. But I see so many people who are upset and angry. I don't know if you guys saw this, but there's a lot of people who hate this episode, who are upset. They're like, oh man, I wanted more. Where's my action? I wanted more of this. I wanted more of that. I don't know what's going on right now in fandom. Fandom is losing it right now. If your episode don't have, if your episode, I always remember just looking at it just kind of takes me back to Hawkeye. Literally, people were upset because every episode was in the third episode of Hawkeye. Every episode has to have non-stop, heart pumping action in it, or like huge bombastic things have to be happening. And this episode was taking the time to set up the tone and set up what's going on and set up where his mind is, set up his like where he's coming from to let you know this is where he's coming from. I want to rule with respect. I don't want to rule with fear. I don't want to fucking torture people. You know what? We can talk this out. I'm gonna try to listen to you. You listen to me. Like he's trying to do it the right way, while also right up top answering questions. How did he get out of the Sarlacc pit? Is the question that's been asked for the last shit. When did Return of the Jedi come out? It's been asked for 40 years, 30 years, something like that. Let's put it this way. It's been asked longer than I've been alive. This question of, hey, could he have gotten out the Sarlacc pit? And once people started writing novels about it, they're like, well, how did he get out? Answer is, he took his flamethrower, like he punched all, because he's in the stomach of this thing. He's already in the gut. So, you know, he's where, like, literally, he's where all the vital organs are. He's right here. And he just took his flamethrower and just punched a hole through and just fucking lit that flamethrower up while he's inside the stomach. It looks like the gases from inside of him from inside the Sarlacc ignited and allowed him to escape. So essentially, he burned the Sarlacc from the inside out and then crawled out of its body. I don't know about you, but that's some hardcore shit. I was like, well, and they've already established in Mandalorian how fucking durable Beskar is. The fact that like he was down there, they don't even establish how long he was unconscious down there. He could have been unconscious down there for days. There's no telling, really. But because he's so scarred up, I'm willing to bet that he was unconscious for days. But the Beskar is the only reason he survived. The Beskar is the reason he survived. The Beskar is the reason he lived. And he essentially, and once he lighted that flame, like his face he's kind of burnt up to a crisp a little bit. And of course they showed the fucking Jawas, the fucking asshole Jawas come up, pick him up, pick all the shit he has off of him, knock him unconscious, and just leave him there. Of course they did. Of course they did. But you know. And then he gets saved by the Sand People, the Tuskens, and we kind of ended up. I'll just talk about the flashbacks right now. We kind of end up getting information on things that we kind of wondered in season 2. They never really established. Like we see him dressed up like a Tusken, carrying around one of those staffs that the Tuskens tote around. But we're just guessing that he hung out with them. We don't really know. But we find out here that yes, okay, yeah, he was hanging around the Tuskens. He had to earn their trust by murdering this big ass like fucking reptile looking Goro looking thing with multiple arms and to choke it to death with a fucking chain. Like I was like, okay, like and he earned their trust. So clearly he was around them. I'm curious how much flashbacks they're gonna do though, because it feels like all the questions that we had were answered right up top, and I think that was on purpose. I do think that's on purpose. Like they're really like, you know, they're really trying to do what they're really trying to like work it here is to get these questions out of the way up top. How to get out? Boom. How did he survive? These people. How do you end up dressed up like a Tusken and carrying one of their staffs and whatnot? Boom. Like, they get all that shit out the way. Why does he fight differently than Boba Fett fought before? Oh, they're gonna probably explain it that he was fucking trained by Tuskens. There's a lot of stuff that they're explaining right up top in this episode. And this episode really is, what's the word I'm looking for? It's really it's setting the table. It's really setting the table. It's really setting the scene. Like I hate to like compare it to The Godfather, but it's a lot like the first 20 minutes of The Godfather. If you watch the first 20 minutes of The Godfather, nothing really happens. It's a lot of table setting. But I mean, it's like a 2 hour and 30 minute movie, but still, there's a lot of table setting. And this episode is table setting. It's table setting. It's setting up the arcs. It's setting up where the characters stand. It's setting up where the world stands. We now know he has beef. We now know that the mayor of where he is don't respect him. We now know that someone put a hit out on him and tried to kill him. We now know that Finnick does not feel the same as he does about the whole trying to rule through respect aspect. We know that, like, there's multiple things that we know now, and it's just table setting. Now, granted, maybe they should have released a second episode to give those people what they wanted, because, like, people didn't want, like, it kind of happens like that, where, like, to people who didn't have these questions, like, people who just watched The Mandalorian and are coming into this, those people are going to get more out of this than hardcore Star Wars fans. I think that that's the vibe I get, because hardcore Star Wars fans already know all of this stuff, or at least they've already worked it out in their minds because they're hardcore fans. It's like in some of the MCU stuff where they take the time to like really like answer certain questions that MCU fans already know the answer to, but like, and they get kind of uppity about it, and the MCU fans kind of don't like it because they're like, well, I already know that, so move on. But for me, this episode was table setting. It was to bring in the new people, let them know this is where we are, this is how our character is thinking, and I thought that it did a great job doing that. Was it the best episode I've ever seen on Disney Plus? No. But it's definitely not bad. It's very good. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Not quite a 9. I'd give it an 8.5 because I still enjoyed myself, and I watched it twice now. And it's going for a more traditional crime bossy vibe. It's going for a more crime movie vibe. It's not the spaghetti western that The Mandalorian is. The Mandalorian's a spaghetti western. It's a Saturday morning cartoon show vibe of just adventure. This ain't that. And I think that kind of threw people off. I do. Anyways, I loved it. I had a great time with it. The Book of Boba Fett, episode 1. What did you guys think? Comment below. Let me know. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.